release. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that just means that I'm pregnant. I am 24 weeks along, first kid, super excited. Thank you, Nico. Yeah, just super excited. And if I were a Filipino dish, I'd be arroz caldo, because I think it is delicious and warm. So if we could go to the next slide. So as I was mentioning, today's workshop is really a realization of my influences in my clinical work. So this will be my attempt at clarifying and articulating this beautiful Filipino culture value of Kapwa, which I believe, thank you, Mila, or Mila, which I believe is really, really needed now. And I'll share a little bit more of why. And so today you have the opportunity to assist me in its development, and just by taking your experience and then, you know, kind of test driving it outside of here and like really, really getting to practice it and put it into practical, intentional application. And just, you know, for today's purposes, you also have the opportunity to experience your own sense of interconnectedness, or in one translation of Kapwa, with everybody who's in the room with us now. And if we could do the next slide. My next slide here, you'll see it again at the end, but it is this ginormous list, because like many people who are, you know, doing research for our community, about our community, the influences and the people to thank, the list is ginormous. You'll see in a moment, one of them, Eileen Tabios, who's a writer. And she has probably my favorite definition of Kapwa that I've been centering a lot of my research around. So, but among my influences and thank yous, of course, my family, both here and in Hawaii and PI, the close-knit Filipino community I grew up with in Vallejo, California. I was born and raised in Vallejo, California, if anybody's from the Bay. And yeah, I think that a lot of what I'll talk about today, I initially learned in that community where it was just, Kapwa was demonstrated to me. So I really feel like I was given that gift. And here I am doing presentations like this one to, you know, make sure that that's a gift that gets continually shared. Let me see. And, you know, I'll go through some more. There's like my ates Jessica and ate Stacy, who have been helping guide me in my research. Let's see, there's like some trauma researchers in there, and I don't expect everybody to remember, but it is important to me to acknowledge them and thank them. So let's see, next slide, please. Okay, so then just an overview of what today's conversation is about. So went over what we're talking about. We're talking about Kapwa. Oh, could we go back one to overview? Sorry about that. There you go. Perfect. And so then after this, I'm going to go over something called what I call my agreements for groups that I facilitate. And so that's the next thing we'll talk about. Then I'll talk about what Kapwa is, and talk about how my thoughts around it being the Filipinx gift to the world, and one that we really need right now. And then the biggest chunk of today's presentation is really participatory. And like Nico said, video is optional. I like that there's already been some people like unmuting and chatting. So that's totally fine too. It's just when we get to that portion, you can, I like to give folks the option to not, if they're like feeling a particular way about being split up into what'll be pairs. If you don't want to be split into a pair, please message Nico directly, and she will make sure that you stay in the main room with us. And let me see here. And then we'll debrief about the activity, and then of course close to let y'all get back to the rest of your weekends. All right, now next slide, which is the agreements. Awesome. So just a few things. When you do that participatory piece of today's presentation, just something I like to tell folks who participate in my workshops is that the most powerful place you can speak from is from your own experience. So today, feel free to be as vulnerable as you'd like to or not, no pressure. But the thing I like to help people understand and know about when they do share is that you never know who you might inspire or who you might help. It might be the exact thing that somebody else might need to hear today. And then when you're listening, because you also have an opportunity to deeply listen to another person, is that while you're listening to them, listen for yourself in the other story. So, it's like, finding the points of relation, finding the points where you feel connected to a part of their story, or you can relate to a part of their story. And those are what I call, like looking for the gold pieces in somebody's sharing, because that's a huge part of our being able to connect with one another, is to be able to see ourselves in another person's life and part of their experience, and them part of ours. And so the final thing that I ask, and if you could just shoot a little thumbs up or just say, I agree to this last piece, which is that you promise yourself for today to get the most that you can out of today's conversation. And so, whether you're listening or you're speaking, either way. So if you could just like throw a, yes, I agree, or like a thumbs up. Let me look at my chat box here. Opo. Thank you, Nico. Oh, I just saw. Awesome. And I can't see the thumbs up option, in the reactions. Nico, are we getting some thumbs up over there?
Yes, we are. I saw some earlier. You can see some now. And awesome. There's one in the chat from Tita Erlyn.
Thank you, Tita Erlyn. All right. And that's, it's just that thumbs up. You come here, you could have spent your Saturday afternoon doing just about anything, and you decided you're going to come here to this workshop. So I want to make sure that today you get the most out of your coming. So let me see. Let me close this. And then, okay, let's go to the next part. So we're going to talk about what's Kapwa. So if you want to share with us in the chat, what have been definitions of Kapwa that you've understood? Or if you want to unmute, you can also unmute and share. So would anybody like to share their definition of Kapwa, of what they've understood from either? I know that I was talking with Nico earlier. Some folks have, some of us have like last heard it like maybe in college, which is really common. Roxy says kindred. Yep. Exactly. I love that definition of it too. That's beautiful. Anybody else want to share? It can be again typed or unmuted. Kapwa tao, fellow men and women. Yeah. Did somebody speak just then?
Yeah, it's Christine. What's up, Christine?
Christine.
Sorry, I've been like in and out. Like I'm on my iPad and I just got off work. But Kapwa. So I'm trying to understand the word itself.
Yeah.
Like I am like a Filipino American and I am not too familiar with it. And
Yeah.
I just looked it up and it says is a recognition of shared identity and inner self with others. So I really, is that like what it is? Like,
you know, there are so many definitions, and I appreciate you're on your iPad, so you might not be able to see the chat. There are so many definitions of Kapwa. And I'm going to read off some of the other ones that, like Brianna says, togetherness, supportive of one another. Amber said, feeling of shared community and care with others. And Mila, I'm really hoping I'm saying your first name correctly. Forgive me.
Yeah, you are. You're great. Yeah.
Awesome. Mila says, the common good, what's good is good for you is good for me. We are in this together. And then, oh, I love that. I didn't see that earlier. Tayo, which is like our fellow, or tayo, together, instead of just ako or ikaw. Victoria says unity. I love this. Yes, you guys, there's, oftentimes when we're translating some word from another language, we can only really get approximations. But yeah, I'd love to share. Thank you for everybody participating. That's beautiful. Derek, yes. Understanding that we can grow through commonality. Beautiful. So I'd like to share from here, since you all have been so generous with me. If we could go to the next slide. Yeah, I agree, Nico. These are really beautiful. This is a definition that I found in my researching that I really love, and it is by Eileen Tabios, who I was mentioning earlier in my thank yous. And she says the way that she articulated Kapwa in the English language was that she said it's a Filipino cultural concept of interconnectedness, whereby other people are not others, but part of what one is. So I think we could all agree, as I'm, reviewing all these definitions, we're speaking about this topic, about this concept. And today, what I'd really love to share with you all is just the different ways in which we can create that in everyday conversation. Let me see. Oh yeah, quick reminder, if you did not get to sign in, please sign in. And Nico so kindly included the tiny URL link there. Okay, so if we could go to the next slide. Okay, and as I was mentioning, I think Kapwa is one of Filipinx unique gifts to offer to the world. Kapwa can foster so much compassion. If I'm able to see, like, you are a part of me, there is going to be just a natural, more expected outcome of me being able to be compassionate towards you. Similarly with empathy or pakikiramdam, like I think it was it, I'm trying to remember, was it Derek? You said pakikiramdam? Yeah. It's like we really have that as an ingrained part of our culture. There is this idea of co-regulation, which in psychotherapy jargon just means, it's like just by being a calm presence, or however we show up, we can influence the people around us. So if we're feeling, particularly frazzled, you don't necessarily feel the comfort going to another person who's also frazzled, but you might feel a little bit more calm if you're able to sit with somebody who feels more grounded and safe for you. And then, and these are these next few points I gathered from my experiences of having, I've been in this field for a long time, and people have always commented on the different things that I do that they think is unique. And then to me, I'm like, oh, this just feels like what you're supposed to do. But again, like that's the part that I didn't learn in my clinical work was this piece. Like people would acknowledge me for having a strong sense of collective identity and a collective interest. Or I once was told that the way that I behave, which is true for, I believe, all Filipinx, to varying degrees, is like that respect to one another is literally the embodiment of the golden rule. It's like you treat others as you wish to be treated. And I really cannot think of any Filipinx I've ever met that doesn't exhibit this value. So, just as, a unique gift from me to you and from you to everybody around you, this is something that is so ingrained in our culture that, even if you've not heard the word before or are just getting to know the word, I can tell you from, and I was telling Nico earlier, it was like 2 to 3 years ago when it came to me as articulated as Kapwa. And I was like, whoa, but that's what I've been doing all this time. But I didn't really think of a word for it. I was just like hearing all these people tell me I'm doing this. And it's like just kind of a natural part of me. But I've been very fortunate to grow up in a predominantly Filipino community, and I really just saw Kapwa in action. So, I really think that the gift that Kapwa is, I think it's super needed now. And if we could go to the next slide, I included photos of these beautiful people, just because as I was conceptualizing Kapwa, as I've been doing my research and I'm continuing to, I just keep wondering, like, would other lives that we've unfortunately lost still be with us if those who had lost those lives had seen a part of themselves in that person? And a part, like, I don't know for certain, but I do have a strong sense of like, I think they would still get to be with us. But these are perfect examples to me of like why the next slide, why the world needs Kapwa now. So, and if we could go, as we prepare to do this conversation here together, so we're coming to the main part of our workshop here today. And if we could go to the next slide, I put this up just as like a question, whenever we're about to do some interactive component of the work that I ask folks to do in my workshops. I like to create with all of you who's in the room with you, so that you can get a sense of just the people, and
Oh, Roxanne. Oh, sorry, Cynthia.
Roxy.
There's a question.
Yeah, Roxy, you raised your hand. What's up? Oh. Oh, thank you. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, no, but if anybody has like a question, yes, throw little hands up. I know like some of the other reactions are like thumbs up and celebration. I call them celebration cones. That's not what they are. They're like party hats? I don't know, but they have all the confetti. So you're welcome to use those if you want to like react in the presentation here. So if I could go to just our next slide so that I can share with you who is all in the room with you. And this is just demonstrated clearly from you being here with us today. So all people in this room have their own story of how they got to this moment in their life. Some journeys are longer or shorter than others, but not without pain, not without growth, not without hopes and values. All the people in this room, just by being here, are demonstrably curious in learning how and when Kapwa is applied in conversation, how it can bring about healing in both the speaker and the listener. All in this room, this might be a little bit more assumptive of me, but I think this is probably a safe assumption. You could tell me if I'm wrong. All in this room aim to have joy in their life, just as you and I do. And all in this room will be sharing as vulnerably as they feel comfortable to, whether that's by their speaking or by their listening, which I'll go into in a little bit. And so our job as listeners is to create that safety in our listening. And in something I want to add about that is that in my work as a therapist and as a clinical social worker, I haven't always seen the value in how well I listen, and how powerful just listening can be. So if your option today is to just, sit back and listen to another share, totally fine. I want you to know that listening alone has the potential to really heal a lot of pain for another person. So just thank you for doing that. So let me see here. I just added this next slide, so if we could go to it. I'm reading the Book of Joy, which is an interesting interview with Archbishop Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama, and they're having this long conversation about what joy is. And this quote came up for them, and I'll read it off in case you can't see it here. One of the good things is realizing that you are not a solitary cell. You are part of a wonderful community. If you are setting out to be joyful, you are not going to end up joyful. You're going to find yourself turned in on yourself. It's like a flower. You open, you blossom, really because of other people. And that's by Archbishop Desmond Tutu. So when, again, as you're listening and as you're speaking, both, it's like we can't blossom into our joyful selves without the sort of shared witnessing of another. So thank you in advance for doing that for each other. So let me go to the next slide, which will just describe what it is that we're going to be doing probably for the next, I want to say, probably about 5 minutes to explain, and then like 15 minutes total to do the thing. So Nico's going to be helping me with those of you who are willing to be partnered into pairs. And I'm going to ask that you pick a partner, A or B. I make this recommendation here is like partner A has longer hair than partner B, but if you don't have your video on, it's maybe hard to tell. I encourage video to be on. I think that can be really lovely and really add a lot to the experience. But again, if that's not what you feel comfortable with, no worries. But just pick a partner A or B, and that recommendation is totally, just a recommendation. You could choose it another way. Each partner will then have a set time of uninterrupted sharing that's prompted by the listener. So the listener, your job is to remember to listen for those gold nuggets that I was talking about in the beginning. And as a speaker, remembering that there is power in what you're sharing. You never know what it is that you're sharing about your story that might help somebody or might help them feel just a little bit more connected in their day. And there's a bit of an agreement around listening and honoring one another's stories. So there's the agreement to listen. an acknowledgement of the storyteller's ownership over their story. So there's no rewriting of it unless they would like to do so. And just an agreement to appreciate the whatever level of vulnerability someone's able to come with today. None of it's wrong. It is all, all valid and good, whether we're sharing our listening or sharing about ourselves. And it's a huge generosity. And I find I tend to be more of an introvert, despite, me doing presentations like this. I tend to be more of an introvert, and I really find that sharing is a really brave act. So, if you do opt to share today, thank you so much for that generosity and sharing with everybody or with your partner. So then the next page, I just inserted a reminder of the agreements we talked about earlier today. It's kind of a repeat a little bit of what I had on the previous slide, remembering that the most powerful place you can speak from is from your own experience. You never know who you might inspire or help. Listen for something for yourself in the other story, or AKA that gold nugget. And then just a reminder of that promise you made to yourself at the beginning to get the most you can out of today's conversation. So then I'm going to go to the next slide. And so in a moment here, Nico is going to divide you into your group or into your pair. And whoever speaks first, you're going to be prompted by your listener. And whoever's listening first, the question I want you to prompt your speaker with is just tell me about yourself. Where this particular phrase came from was, as I've been doing my research, there's a woman who conducts interviews for a living. And one of the things that she's found in her experience is that one of the strongest prompts to help her interviewees with sharing or starting sharing was to say, tell me about yourself. So this is a tool that I think could be used just about anywhere, but for today, we'll use it in our paired conversation. And let me just see this chat message really quick. Derek, yes, if you are driving home right now, you probably should just focus on the road and stay with us in the room. Let me see. There will group with one in one room. We're just working on like a logistical thing, you guys. So just that. Oh, interesting.
I think
Victoria, that's an interesting idea.
In at their house together, so they get their own group right there.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that help us sort things, Nico?
Let me go. Recreate the rooms one more time, and then I think
no
what's gonna
worries.
happen.
Take your time.
Yeah, and Derek is just gonna stay in the main room with you guys, right?
Yeah, he's gonna stay here with us.
Yeah. And so I'm going to move around, so people just might take a little bit of time. But in the meanwhile, if y'all wanna is there any prompts, Cynthia, you wanna provide people with?
It really is just to have the listener say, tell me about yourself to whoever's speaking first. So if it's partner A speaking first, then partner B says to them, tell me about yourself. And then partner A begins their share. The amount of time, I think we could probably, if we do get to do pairs, probably 5 minutes a person could work. And then we can send you a little note that says switch when it's time to switch. And then for the trio, let me think. I think we could do three minutes of share. if we still have that trio.
Yeah. So I have created all the rooms, and so Victoria, Vana, and Vivian, y'all are not assigned a room because there's already 3 of you in your own like personal Zoom room. So you'll be in the main room, but if you can just like participate with your mic off. And then Derek, you are in a room, but do you not want to be in a room for the sake of driving? Quick question. I could put you in the main room, and then I'll just put somebody, and then one group's going to be a group of 3. Unless Cynthia, you want to be an active participant?
Yeah. So for Derek, I think you're going to be in the main room. We'll be doing something here together as well. We'll be doing more or less the activity, but you'll probably, depending on what you feel comfortable with, either just speak or just listen, whichever one feels safer. Does that make sense?
Yes, sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Cool.
So yeah, so you'll still get to do it. It's just, yeah, the kind of clicking business of getting into different rooms. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. So so Cynthia, did you still want to be an active participant? Because I'll put you in the room with Derek, and so that way it's like it will still be like an active conversation. So that way it won't be like a weird, awkward silence, one-sided.
Yeah, if you could have me and Derek and whomever didn't want to be paired up in the main room,
Yep.
and then everybody else in their duos or trios.
Yeah, that could work out.
Excellent. Thank you, Nico.
No worries. I'm opening up all the rooms now. Once everyone's in the rooms, I'll give you all a message that says I'll start the 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then I'll be here in the main breakout room.
Okay. And if you're, it's really a debrief of what this activity was like for you. And at first, I'd like to ask what it was like for you to participate in that conversation first as a listener, and then I'm going to ask in a little bit what it was like to speak. But if someone could share, you can unmute, you can type into the chat box also if you prefer that, but I'll open up the space. What was it like to participate in that conversation as a listener?
I guess I can go. So when I was a listener, it made me really happy that I was able to share in that feeling that as they were telling their story that, oh, I wasn't alone in feeling that same experience when I was growing up, or I'm experiencing that now as, a Filipino in America. So it brought joy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nicole. Does one other person want to share maybe? And I'd love to hear from anybody who'd like to share.
I can go.
Derek.
Oh,
We're
okay.
in together.
I've got Derek and I've got Amber, but I heard Amber first. So if we could do Amber and then Derek, is that okay?
Okay. I was with Tita Mila, and so I had spoken first and then I'd listened, and it was really interesting because I had talked about growing up too independent and realizing how that's affected me as an adult, and how I'm trying to learn to rely on other people and trust people with knowing me and my struggles. And it was really interesting as a listener to hear how Tita Mila said she really saw a lot of herself in what I talked about, having gone first and then listening to how she was saying that and we have an age gap, but she could see herself with me or her at like my age and like this point in her life, like so vividly, and like she sees a mirror. And then she in addition to talking about herself, she also gave me like words of encouragement and advice. It was really like supportive, and like it was really nice to like hear all of that.
Beautiful. Thank you, Amber. And Derek, you're next, my dear.
Thanks. So first, just as a listener, I did feel like an external outsider listening to somebody else, but especially as I settled in to finally be at home for this and began to hear stories more, then I stopped listening to just the words and I started hearing the tone and the breaths and the chest upheaving and the emotions and feelings. And then suddenly it just felt like the three of us in the breakout room were kind of in the same emotions, feeling the same thing. The more we heard these experiences that were personally ours, but it's just listening to more than words, listening to the emotions, listening to our body's responses to everything.
Thank you, Derek. I got to be in that room with you and Roxy, so that was really, really, really special for me. All right, thank you to everybody who's sharing. Of course, if we could go to the next slide, I'd love to hear next how it was like what the experience was like for you as a speaker, to participate as a speaker. What was that like? Even if you shared before, if you want to share again, that's also fine. We always love to hear from you. Tita Ernalyn, did I see a hand raise? If you can unmute.
I was paired up with Brianna, and Brianna actually is we're a mentor-mentee from UC Irvine. I'm in the Filipino American alumni chapter. So we haven't seen each other in a while. So as a speaker, you know, I know you were talking about being vulnerable. So I had shared something with Brianna that was new and different. And so I think, you know, now that we ended the mentor-mentee role, so now I'm looking at her more as a peer, as opposed to just someone who's older or someone who is older and wiser, or this alum, because now she's an alum because she also graduated. So it's nice to be able to kind of share with her, you know, kind of what's going on with my job and my career, and in that peer-to-peer level, as opposed to kind of that power differential that we had before. And so that was very much in my awareness, you know, as I was sharing with her, you know, that difference in our relationship now. If that makes sense to you guys, but it made sense to me, and you know, in my conversation with Brianna, like I said.
Yeah, no, I mean, Tita Ernalyn, what I hear is just, yeah, that experience of being able to see how, you know, you had this one relationship with Brianna of like, you know, we're mentor-mentee, and then how just in one conversation of really getting to connect as just like a fellow human, you know, is like a very, like you start to see, yeah, yourself in her and be able to see her as a peer, regardless of, you know, age differences or any kind of differences perceived in the moment before. So thank you for sharing that. And next I see Charlene, you've been patient, you raised your hand. Could you share next? What was it like to speak?
So I actually came a little late because I got the time wrong, but my name is Charlene. I'm actually from Canada. So I'm just up here from you guys, but I don't know. I guess just listening to you guys share, I feel a sense of being able to just be ourselves and being seen. And I guess that's why I keep coming back. Like Nico is great. I always see Tita Mila and Tita Ernalyn. So it's just it's a community that I've grown to love and see myself just continuing to come to these Zoom events as much as I can. Hopefully, once this pandemic has kind of passed, I can actually see you guys and meet you guys in person. But yeah, I hope to come to one of your Zoom events in the future. I'll make sure to get the time right. But yeah, I think just being able to hear from your guys' experience, and I'm actually going to, yes, because before you guys came back, essentially like Jollibee, I'm from Vancouver, BC. There's two that is like already supposed to be a store, but there's no opening date, and they just announced they're going to be opening a third one, but they haven't even opened one. So that's why I'm hoping that it happens soon. But I think the other person that has really, I don't know, struck a chord in me, and I see myself in right now is Roxy or Roxanne. I just see your emotion. I see you like holding your hand on your heart, and I just see a beautiful, vulnerable human being, and I really appreciate that you're able to share just a vulnerable side of you, even if it's just over Zoom, because I know it can take a lot just keeping your camera on. So yeah, that being said, I'm glad that I was able to catch even just this little part. So thank you.
Charlene, it sounds like you showed up at exactly the right time. And actually I'm seeing hearts going back and forth. It's so sweet. And you're in you have fellow Canadians in the audience, which is Roxy. So I don't know if anybody else is joining us from Canada, but we've got folks coming from all over the States and outside of the States. So it's really awesome. Thank you so much. We've just got a couple minutes left. If anybody wants to like raise a hand and share, I'd love to hear any closing thoughts. We're going to wrap up in a moment.
May I share?
Mila, Tita Mila.
Yes. I tend to talk more than I should, but I'll try to be very brief this time. I just want to tell you, to reiterate what I said on the chat. It was so exciting to listen to Amber. And like I told her, I see a lot of myself in her, and the way she thinks and the way she believes about herself, her own experiences. I said, that was me, just maybe 50 years ahead of you. And I just want to say that when you listen, and that kapwa feeling that you say, yes, I've been there. Yes, that was me. And yes, and I would like to share with you that it will all go well. It will all go well. Just look at me. I'm still here on the side of the dirt. My friend usually tell me, I'm just happy I'm still on the side of the dirt. Which is, I said, yes, just be happy that you're alive. But not that you're just alive. You are still having the same feelings, the same excitement, the same fears and dreams that you had when you were younger. And I just wanted to say that just listening to Amber gave me reassurance to myself that, a lot of people are going through or went through what you went through, and you can share that feeling of, hey, we're still here. Things may not go as far as we would like them to come out specifically, but you know that there is hope, because you know that everything will turn out right. You just wait for the time, have a little patience. It's because other people have gone through the same you are going through. And this is our mantra for mental health. You know, I am here with you. I know where you've been. I've been there. And we can do this together. We are Kapwa. You know, so you get that reassurance, you get that renewed motivation, you have that renewed encouragement to just keep moving on because life is full of surprises, but you can create those surprises for yourself. And Amber is a very good person. I can see in her. She knows herself, and she knows that she knows what she wants to do, and she can do that. Maybe not in step by step. Number one, number two bullets, but hey, it's nice to hear other people's stories. You feel that feeling of togetherness. That's how I felt actually. So I thought it was so exciting. And again, Amber, I am really happy to have shared these things with you. And everybody is just, you know, what you can do, you know who you are. And it's nice that other people are going through the same journey as you are. So I guess that's it. And thank you very much for indulging me. I cannot show you my face because there's so much light in the room where I am.
Oh.
I am in the woods, so the thing is open.
Oh, wow. Oh, thank you, Tita Mila. And I see, Roxy, you've been super patient. You have your hand raised. If you could, be our last share for today, that would be awesome. Love to hear from you.
Cynthia, can I say Auntie Cynthia? And also Kuya Derek. I think this was the space as a speaker, I don't even know what I said. I opened, and in front of me, Kuya opened, and it felt like circle. It felt like hope. It felt like coming together. And as a listener, I felt Kapwa. And it was all gold. And in no way, I don't know, I'd like to share gold. It was gold, sacred, everything. And I'm so grateful to be here today. Thank you for this experience. Ati Kuya Titas. This was everything I needed today. I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful to listen and to be seen by even Charlene. I felt seen, and I saw, and I felt, and I'm just like, everything, thank you. I'm speaking, but I don't even know what I'm saying, except that I'm here.
I think I can speak for, and Charlene kind of alluded to it, Roxy. It's like you exude the communication that doesn't necessarily need the words. And it's so beautiful. So that's okay. Even if, it's like there's a quote I really like of people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. So even if, we forget the words that we say, it's things like this, what we created here together today with Kapwa, that people do remember. So thank you so much for sharing that. And Nico, I know I'll like wrap up here, but I just wanted to visit one quote. It's another quote from the book I mentioned earlier, the Book of Joy with the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And so I'll just read it because I think, to me, it kind of, I was listening to it the other day. My husband and I read it together. And when he read this, I was like, this is what I'm talking about. This is why the world needs it, I think. So it says, a self-centered attitude is the source of the problem. We have to take care of ourselves without selfishly taking care of ourselves. We cannot survive, or if we do not take care of ourselves, we cannot survive. We need to do that. We should have wise selfishness rather than foolish selfishness. Foolish selfishness means you only think of yourself, don't care about others, bully others, exploit others. And in fact, taking care of others, helping others, ultimately is the way to discover your own joy and to have a happy life. And you can do that in just listening. Oh, hi, little one with Nicole. Oh, so cute. And Amber said, yeah, I like the distinction between the different types of selfishness. I really agree. I love that. So I just wanted to share that with you all. The next page, the next slide is just all of earlier. Nico was like, was this an accident? Was there is there two of these slides? And there is two of these slides, one at the beginning and one at the end, because it's not without these people that I'm able to, it's like within sorry, Nico. It's not, without these people, I wouldn't have this containment of doing this kind of conversation, doing this kind of research on my own. So, it just felt right to me to have them at the beginning and at the end. But yeah, that is today's presentation. Thank you, everybody. Again, I say, you could spend your Saturdays doing just about anything, and you're here and you participated and gave your gift of listening and of sharing. And I know I speak for those who got to share in those spaces with you, that I really appreciate it. And that was a wonderful act of generosity on your part. So that last slide is just, ways you could get in touch with me if you'd like to. And yeah, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much.
Can y'all send like Cynthia love, like with reactions, with hearts in the chat? Like, yeah, like I think at the end of healing, I was not participating in the breakout rooms this time, just to help facilitate everything in the background. But hearing everyone's report bags, hearing what Cynthia learned and sharing about Kapwa, I honestly felt like I was a part of it too as well. I messaged Nicole like privately, like, yo, I'm crying. Like there were tears escaping my eyes, my tear ducts. Thank you so much.
And everybody, please send Nico some love. She has been making sure that we had tech smooth and possible, and the breakout rooms. Nico, you maybe didn't get to participate in speaking, but you really helped make sure that there was the space, and that's a huge gift. I mean, as you can see on the looks of people's faces, it's a huge gift that you did that for us today. So thank you.
This is a big gift overall. I think everyone just left feeling, I don't know how y'all left. I think y'all left a little lighter after today. So we got some community announcements going on in the communities. Unfortunately, it's like SoCal centered, but if I can get, I will work really hard to get announcements for y'all living in Canada. And so our first one is our first fundraiser gala. So as you know, upcoming September 7th is the 5th year anniversary of since the RC Center has been established and been working in service. And so we want to celebrate that with our first fundraiser gala that will be happening on September 10th from 6 to 9 PST. But it's also a hybrid because we're trying to make sure we're celebrating and honoring everyone who has supported us in the past year or so. And not everyone lives in Riverside. We have folks from LA. Roxy and Charlene are from Canada, so it will be in person, and we'll have a lot of tons of games. Thanks, Nicole, for sending the RSVP link. Tons of games, tons of open mic. And speaking of open mic, if you do have any talent from spoken word, singing, dancing, eskrima performance, or any performance that has any, you know, visual and physical performance. I don't know how to describe performance artists, but we have an open mic. Again, it will be in person and online, and in-person spots are going to be limited. And so if you have any more information, or if you stay behind, ask us questions. But also we have left our email there too as well, filamrifka@gmail.com. Everyone is invited if y'all got time on September 10th on Friday. As well as those who have participated in the past. There's no eligibility or requirements. You don't need to be like, oh, I need it. We're asking our supporters who have attended like 2 things to come. No. If you've been in our space, if you've been our friends, you've been a part of our network, whether it's one time or whether it is more than a year, you are invited to as well. So there are other ways to support if you cannot attend. We also have donating. It helps us sustain our services for another good year, helps us expand our services. And if inviting people like Cynthia, or inviting Cynthia back, that helps also pay for like speaker fees for like, you know, like Cynthia. Or if you're interested in joining the planning team, right now we're just at this point, we're just sending invitations. It will help alleviate that way. You know, it's not just me on my end sending invitations. You know, DM me privately or stay behind, and let us know too. We have meetings every Thursday at 6 p.m. PST. And oh wait, I thought I had. Hold on. There was one more. Okay, so we're moving on to community resources. Always a resources whenever you're in Riverside is the social crisis and suicide hotline number. Cynthia is also we'll also send more resources, especially with the national suicide crisis hotline number 2 as well. So if you ever, and if I can find one from Canada, I'll send that too as well. Just being inclusive, but also we can't forget our own resource center. I don't know, just so you know, we also provide services beyond our workshops. I don't think we have been very explicit in telling y'all that, but just to articulate a little bit and expand a little bit further, we're helping those families in the Asian American Pacific Islander community who are experiencing emotional and mental health crises, and connecting them with Riverside County Mental Health Services, as well as helping y'all out not just through mental health recovery and treatment, but if you need help with social services, Social Security, Medicare, immigration, as well as the hosting. Just keep a lookout on our newsletters or emails. We host mental health support groups. I think we hosted one just to help the youth understand more about Stop AAPI Hate, as well as Black Lives Matter back last year. We also, if you do happen to find our office, I'll also send that information to you as well. We also provide like referrals and pro bono consultation on case-to-case basis for anything from legal, immigration, and community resources. And we also have opportunities if you want to volunteer with us. We have a lot of opportunities if you can volunteer with us online, like our Kapwa Healing program with APCTC. And then last but not least, before I pass it on to Nicole and anyone else who has other community announcements too as well, we are currently hiring. Unfortunately, this is solely for folks living in Riverside for county purposes. So we're hiring, but if you know anyone who has these type of skills, we're hiring for 2 positions, digital outreach worker, as well as in-person field outreach worker. Both of these are different. If you're interested, stay behind. We'll send you a lot more information, or just email us and we'll send you the information from there too as well. Nicole, do you have an announcement for us?
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Nicole. Dumaguindin. I work for Asian Pacific Counseling Treatment Centers in Riverside County, and I'm one of their community mental health promoters. So we have a couple workshops coming up. If I'd like to share and like invite you all to, if I can share screen, I have the flyers like ready to share. The first one is it's called Kaya Natin To, Filipinos, COVID vaccine, and Riverside County.
Nicole, your co-host, you can screen share.
Oh, thank you. So this is us. Right, this is one of the workshops. It'll be on Tuesday, August 31st from 6 p.m. onward on Zoom. And it's to learn about vaccination, like what exactly is happening and how can we address this new way that COVID anxiety is taking form in our community around like, you know, the variants and all these things like that, and learn about like the CDC guidelines and where we are in Riverside County about these things. This is a collaboration with another nonprofit called Reach Out. So please RSVP, share this flyer, especially with folks who will really benefit from this information. We can do this, right? We can get through this. And then the second one, we do a lot of faith-based work as well. So we're actually going to be featured in this praise and worship night put on by the Filipino ministry. It's called Halika Tignan, Come and See. And so we were able to discuss with the Filipino ministry that, yes, we need to talk about mental and spiritual health in a youth-oriented space. And the best people to do that is to give agency to these youth leaders. And so we're featuring Chris Estrella, who's also a strong advocate for mental health and does really good worship songs. He will try them in Tagalog and English. Invite your friends, right? It'll be interesting. If you've never seen spiritual and mental health come together, this is the space to like explore with us what that should look like. So the RSVP is there. It'll be a hybrid of in-person and virtual. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Anyone else would have like a, if you would like all information on all community announcements and resources, we will send an email out to recap, but also if you would just like immediately on a specific type, just stay behind. We'll let you know what that is too as well. Does anyone else have a community announcement? Cool. I forgot to mention when you sign in, we do get to enter into a raffle. And so if you have not signed in yet, I'm gonna send in this link into the chat. Go ahead and sign in for all of us. And we are gonna get started in a few minutes with our raffle. Our raffle, as always, we're sending y'all a $25 gift card, e-card, or a physical card if you live in the United States. All we just need is your address. And so, please go ahead and check that tiny URL link. Hopefully it is working. I have tested out this morning, and thanks. So go ahead and fill that in. It will only take a few minutes. If you already signed in, you're already in here. And we'll go ahead and start choosing our winners soon. But also in the meanwhile, if you already fill that in, there's also one more survey. And just please show us some love if you appreciated these type of programs. And we try to put a lot more of these programs on, trying to using Tita Ernalin's connections to help find really great speakers like Cynthia. So go ahead and show us some love if you can. We appreciate it all, whether it's in the sign-in sheet or in the survey. In the meanwhile, we also, and if you want to go ahead, as we are closing up, we also have a picture if you want to stay behind for that one. And we also have our social medias. So go ahead and follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as we provide our emails in just case you just need to contact us. Tita Mila, do you have any closing words while I set up our raffle?
Well, always my appreciation for our speaker, Cynthia, and our best wishes for the little ones soon to come. And also for all of you who have joined us, even for the first time or maybe for the nth time, we would love you to join us again in our next Ugnayan sa Kalusugan, which will be on September 25. Another exciting topic. We are not yet ready with the exact title because we depend on our speakers to really frame it for us, and then we will let you know. But also invitation to accept our to receive our newsletters, and just email us to say hello, just so we can share with you whatever exciting things are happening. And I do hope that you can make it on September 10. Like Nico said, we have been in this for 5 years now, and we're hoping to go a little bit further and longer and wider our outreach. So we're now including all Asian Pacific Islanders ethnic communities. But of course, I know the main pillars of this outreach is our Kapwa Filipino, and knowing that, this is a really ongoing concern. Mental health is always an ongoing concern because there's no real health without mental health. And I know that there's just a slogan that every healthcare provider, especially in behavioral health, is saying these days, but it is true. And for myself, I can speak for myself. I didn't even realize that I had mental issues until I got into this field. And truly, everything that we do affects our mental wellness. So, on that note, I really appreciate everyone being here. And do fill out our surveys because that's how we can document our existence. We get our funding from the Riverside University Health Systems through the Mental Health Services Act. And so we're having that fundraiser on September 10 because not everything is actually funded by the county. So we need to be resourceful so that we can continue the work that we do, and with the help and support of everyone like you. So, Nico, do we have a winner for our monthly Ugnayan? The raffle?
We're gonna pick one out right now.
Hey.
Wait, I don't know what's a good. I put your name in, Cynthia, if you wanted to win one. It's okay. I didn't
Is that
know.
allowed? Can I win?
Like, can she win? Is that allowed? Good question.
Yeah. Yes, everyone participating, excluding me, because then it looks so bad.
So congratulations, Cynthia, for winning a $25 gift card.
Yes.
Thank you.
Not much, just a little token of appreciation.
Oh gosh, thank you so much.
I'll email you for your to tell you how the raffle will work, how we'll process the raffle and give you your prize for that $25 gift card.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so this is our last part of the program, and after this, we'll let y'all go to enjoy your day. But thank you so much for staying even past 2:30, and thank you for learning and vibing with all of us. And I hope learning from Cynthia has been such a nice and amazing experience. So I am going to start taking a picture. So if anybody would like to, fix your hair, turn your camera on, look pretty good, get the sweat off your forehead, make sure you feel matted.
I need my apron.
Okay, fan yourself so that way you don't look like I'm a sweaty mess on my end. Hopefully it doesn't come out on my pictures. Fix your baby hairs.
Cover my background.
Alrighty, on the count of 3, we'll take a picture. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Hold that. Oh, you saved it. Awesome. Thank you all so much for coming. I hope you had a really great time. If you would like to stay to get more information of everything else, please let us know. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye,
so much.
everybody. Thank you.